rapid chess matches, and the main event is Maxine Vachier-Lagrave against Peter Svidler. But we do have two other matches going on. So far, the action has been so fast and furious, we haven't had a chance to really switch over to the other games. But games have already started. Let's catch up with Vachier-Lagrave against Svidler. So just a reminder that so far all of their three games have been decisive, and Vachier-Lagrave leads by 2-1. So in this game, Svidler has gone for a Spanish with black instead of his Khan, as he tried in the second game. And we have this solid d3 move, which, well, you could say the main line, the old main line, is rook e1. And then after b5, black has a choice between d6 or castles, which might well threaten to play a marshal after c3, d5. But d3 is more like the kind of anti-martial lines. So a3. So this is more modest from white, not attempting to play with c3 and d4, at least not for the moment. But it does mean that this bishop is preserved on this diagonal. That's one thing. That's the point of playing a3, so that after knight a5, the bishop can drop to a2. Excuse me a second. And basically, if you compare the pieces, you know, this bishop is more actively placed than its counterpart on e7. And also this move b5. Sometimes this pawn is a little bit vulnerable to being well, nibbled at by the a pawn. Well, let's see. We got lots of moves. It's gone knight a5, threatening the bishop. Bishop dropped, of course. c5. So black gained space in the middle and on the queen side. Bishop g5. Now, the drawback of playing c5, of course, is that the d5 square is somewhat weakened. So that's the point of playing bishop g5. Sometimes one could even trade, and then try and move a knight, sometimes a bishop, into d5. So let's see how this goes. Knight c6. Excuse me a moment. And now b4. Well, that's a very interesting move. I suppose that after pawn takes, he perhaps wants to take on f6 and then play bishop d5. Very interesting. With this pin. And then if, let's say, bishop b7, then you take on b4. So white's pawn structure is slightly improved. Yes, just to answer your question, this is being streamed on the Biel chess site. It's also being streamed on playchess.com, and it's being streamed on YouTube as well. So there are various portals that people are watching by, and if you have any questions, then please do write in on the chat on YouTube or the chat on playchess.com as well. So please do write in with your comments and questions. But we have more moves. It's gone. Well, it did go like this after b4. Svidler did take on b4. So it's gone absolutely as advertised. Now, instead of bishop b7, Svidler's played queen c7, and then rook b8. Well, I think this is, of course, it's double-edged now because we have an imbalance in the pieces. So black has the two bishops. You could say the structure is perhaps slightly more favorable for white. But let's see, after c3, I guess Svidler's idea is to drop the knight back to e7, push the bishop away, and you can see that, well, black has two bishops and a little bit of pressure here. So, yeah, I can imagine Svidler would be reasonably happy with this position from the opening. We've got to move. After rook b8, it went queen d2 to protect the pawn on b4. So I suppose that after knight e7, when the bishop drops back to b3, that means that now the c3 square is available for the knight to come into c3 and possibly into d5 as well. So queen d2, yeah, I can see that that's superior to c3, certainly. Clock times. Who's done their prep better? Well, once again, it looks as though Maxine Vachier-Lagrave has prepared better. He's got 13 minutes still on the clock. Svidler has 10 minutes. So Svidler thinking things through, and once again, it looks as though Maxime is better prepared. Mahesh Patil says MVL, or Mahesh Patil says MVL seems like a future challenger for Carlton in the World Chess Championship. Who knows? There are so many players that are predicted to be future challengers for the world title. Everyone talks about, a few months ago, people were talking about Giri, and more recently Wei Yi. So at the moment, MVL is doing very well, but who knows? There's no one, you could say, who's been consistently the number 2 in the world at the moment. And of course, we have Karyakin in November. And yeah, just a reminder that Maxime is actually number 2 in the world on the live rating list after his performance in Dortmund. Let's just have a little look at the other matches taking place. So here we have Noel Studer, who's 19 years old, and he's just won the Swiss Championships. And he's playing against Francesco Rambaldi, who's 17 years old, Italian, but resident in France. And let me see. Well, not such an interesting opening. Knight comes to c6. And not a ripping opening there, not so interesting. How about Nico Georgiadis against Benjamin Bock? So Bock is number 5 in the Netherlands. Strong grandmaster, 26-13. He's only, I think he's 21 years old, from memory. Yeah, he's 21. Nico Georgiadis is 20 years old. Once again, bishop f4 is in fashion. It's transposed to a kind of strange Queen's Indian. So Georgiadis with white. Well, fairly regular opening so far. I guess black will either break with e5 or c5 in this position. Okay, early days in those games. But let's go back to Maxime Vachier-Lagrave against Peter Svidler. And we have quite a few developments after queen d2, castles, queen c3. Very interesting. Pinning the knight. And after bishop b7, Maxime has given up the two bishops, but he's managed to take the pawn on a6. Of course, black has compensation for the pawn in terms of his bishops, but white has such a solid pawn formation here that I can't imagine this is going to be bad for white. And not only that, very well coordinated pieces. So let's just a quick recap. Over the last couple of moves, it went rook fc8, knight d2, and now d5. Svidler, of course, trying to open the position for his bishops. But Vachier-Lagrave declining to trade pawns and instead just doubling the rooks. I think I would prefer to be white in this position, certainly. Yeah, there's a comment online about the clock. Sorry, we arranged this at the very last minute, so we weren't able to put the clocks on the board on the screen so that you can see them. So I have to give you updates. And at the moment, Vachier-Lagrave has around about 12 minutes left, and Svidler has, well, 6 minutes 50. So once again, significant time advantage for Vachier-Lagrave. And Svidler suffering a bit in this match. He's 2-1 down. He really needs to try and win this game, but this will not be easy at all. So after rook fa1, he took on e4, and then white recaptured with the pawn. And then bishop e8. So Svidler trying to generate some play on the c-file. Mahesh Patil asks, Mr. King, sometimes I wonder, are all those chess books behind you when I record my power play videos? Clucky Cluck says, no, they're meditation books. They are all chess books, but they're only a tiny proportion of the chess books that I own, and around my office and elsewhere in the house I have stacks more chess books. Alex says, first time Mr. King prefers a position where he doesn't have the two bishops. Yeah, that's probably true. That's probably true. But I think the reason why I sort of feel that in this case the knight should be okay is that white's structure is pretty solid. But this bishop e8 is a very interesting move. Let's have a look at this. So after the exchange of queens, then the pawn on c2 is attacked. I might be about to change my mind, of course, and prefer the bishops. It's an interesting move. Now the problem is that I can't move c3. I wonder if I have to play knight e1 in this position to defend the pawn. I'd rather not go backwards, but... And now, what about bishop e7 to attack b4? Yeah, there's a bit of pressure. And then, I don't really want to have to go backwards with rook b1, but perhaps I need to. And then, of course, white will try to bring the king over as quickly as possible. But let's see, we have developments. It's gone. Well, Maxine did trade on c7, but instead of protecting the pawn on c2, he's played knight f1. Well, that's very pragmatic. What he's doing is after rook takes pawn, he just wants to redeploy his knight to this wonderful square on d5. But of course, he's given back his extra pawn. Then rook b2, knight d5. Yeah, it's not bad. People are saying online, what about rook a8 instead of knight e1? The liquidator says knight f1 is a computer move. Well, thank goodness they're just humans playing up there. I think after rook a8, you can just trade and play king f8, and actually black is very safe on the 8th rank, and there are still problems here to deal with. Of course, one could do it, but there's no rush to trade. In any case, he's played knight f1, which is a very interesting pawn sacrifice, and white can decide later whether he wants to play the rook now. But instead of taking the pawn, Svidler's played rook c4. He's perhaps looking to take on e4 instead. So, for example, after knight e3, he'll take on e4. And yeah, that's probably a more valuable pawn to take. FWCC1 asks, what is the match score? It's 2-1 in Vachier-Lagrave's favor. 2-1 in Vachier-Lagrave's favor. Wabs Nazem says, as white, I want to start launching my h-pawn. Oh, I would love to launch an I love to launch an h-pawn myself, but not just for the moment. So rook c4. What are white's options here? Don't have to give the e-pawn. I mean, this is possible to play like this and play knight d5 anyway. To put the bishop back on d8, and then rook a8 looks pretty tempting. We got some moves. It's gone. Rook c4, c3. And yes, if rook takes e4 here, then I can imagine that rook could be rather offside. In this case, it has to go to g4, and that's not so good. So after c3, rook takes c3, and now knight e3. So MVL finds another way to play the position. I mean, I think there are quite a few options there for white, but he's playing just to position that knight on d5. Very, very interesting. F. Burton 8 says, Harry the h-pawn. Yeah. We like a bit of Harry. Definitely like a bit of Harry. Harry is my favorite of the kingside pawns to push because you don't damage your king position. Bishop c6. Okay, so Svidler presumably will knock this knight out if it heads into d5. Actually, you don't have to knock it out. You could come back with rook c4 to undermine the knight's position on d5, and then I don't think black will mind the exchange on f6 because the king will come to g7, and then these pawns look pretty shaky. The other thing about bishop c6 is that it does control the a8 square. I'm starting to like the bishops again here. I prefer black now. There we go. Somebody said I never like. I always like the position with bishops, and at the start of the endgame, I quite like the knights, but now I've changed my mind. Definitely changed my mind. Those bishops look good. I've just got to remind there was a famous Soviet player called Eduard Gufeld who used to say, my friend, even the worst bishop in the world is better than a knight. So there we go. That was Eddie. It's always stuck in my mind. Knight g4 played. That means, well, yes, after bishop e4, very tricky. He can play rook f6. There's a nice tic-tac. So if pawn takes, Then knight takes, and we capture the bishop on e4. Of course, after rook f6, h5 is legal. Then it starts getting extremely messy. That might well be better for black. So perhaps we just have to play knight f6, takes rook f6, and try to hold this endgame. And if knight takes, well, knight takes is threatened. Oh no, we got some other moves. After knight g4, Svidler just nudged the bishop back. Bishop e7, he's preserving the bishops. Knight e5, bishop e4, and knight d4. So these knights floating around in the middle, always dangerous, but Svidler has managed to preserve his two bishops, knights against bishops, which will prevail. More moves. It went after knight d4, rook c8, connecting the rooks, not bad, and threatening a mate. f3. Now where's that bishop going? This pawn on b5 is on. Very tricky. Does he want to play bishop f6 or something like this? Maybe that's his move. Very tricky. I'm not sure about this. Because, of course, if white can eliminate the last pawn on the queen side, that might not be bad. But Svidler has played bishop d5. Now, what's the story? Can you play knight takes b5? And here... Okay, we need an update on the clock times. He's taken on b5. Svidler has only 2.5 minutes. Vachier-Lagrave has 7.5 minutes. Whoa. I mean, it looks like a draw to me, because pawns are being liquidated. Okay, let's see. The rook is on prise. Could play rook b3. This is possible. And maybe attack on the second rank. And also this pawn is on. Probably still better for black. Could well be better for black. But somehow with pawns on the same side, probably a draw. Remember, folks, you can always play through these games afterwards, and this recording will be saved on the playchess.com archives, and also on the Power Play Chess YouTube channel, where you can see the whole of this commentary again. Rook e3 played. Okay, that hits the knight on e5. Also looks pretty good. Let's push the knight to a poor square. Then maybe he can play rook e2. So if knight g4, then rook e2, and this could be dangerous. This could be very dangerous. But then there's knight d4, rook d2, the knight moves again, knight f5. Ooh, knight attacking here, still very unclear. And clock times, 1 minute 48 for Svidler. Vachier-Lagrave, 6.5 minutes. Incredible. That's the position on the board with Maxine to move. F. Burton says, sounds like I could do with a hot toddy. Absolutely, yeah. I think I could do with something like that. And it's still only day one. Remember, we've got the classical games coming. So rook e3. That's the position on the board. And Maxime has time. He has time. Ooh, knight d6 played. Well, we know that Maxime is brilliant at calculating, and he's obviously been thinking this one through. Now, if the rook comes up the board, then, well, you've got to watch out for knight f5. Oh, knight f5 coming. This is the point. So Svidler has had to trade off. He's traded off and played, yeah, because of the threat to knight f5, he's had to trade. And after rook e5, oh, he's just won a piece. Oh, no, he hasn't won a piece. Wow. This is incredible. Incredible calculation. So after rook f5, g4. Yeah, but this must be winning. This must be winning for black because you take and you take on b4. Okay, what have I missed here? Surely this is winning for Svidler now. What's wrong with rook f5? I mean, there are probably other ways to win this position, but no, he's played rook e4. Okay, what am I missing here, guys? He's played rook e4, and they've agreed a draw. My word. Okay, what's the story? Rook f5. What am I missing here? I'm going crazy now. This is amazing. Rook d1. Of course, rook d1. And there's a background trick. I mean, I was looking at moves like rook a5, which obviously weren't working. So yeah, rook d1 is the move. And then, well, if the bishop moves, then mate. So in that way, white recovers the piece. And that's why Svidler played rook e4. And after rook takes bishop, rook takes b4 and a draw. Well, that's the end of the match. Very, very interesting. So Maxime Vachier-Lagrave wins the rapid play match, 4-game match, 2.5, 1.5. Hopefully, they'll join us afterwards once they've just caught their breath. But I'm hoping they're going to join us for a little post-mortem. It's been really, really entertaining. But yeah, with a bit of luck, they'll join us soon. In the meantime, let's take a look at the other matches. I don't even know what the scores are in the other matches, actually. I should be able to tell from this, although it's hard to take in at a glance, to be honest. So let's look at the game anyway. Noel Studer against Francesco Rambaldi. What are the clock times? Wow, 51 seconds for Studer. Rambaldi has 2 minutes. That looks pretty awkward. And black has a positional advantage, I would say. Although white's position can't be so bad. Yeah, interesting. Let's look at the other game. Yeah, knight b6 played. So black has to keep a hold of this. So rook b8. And now, yeah, the knight is somewhat dominated by the queen. So I think black is slightly better there. That's the position on the board. Knight e7 played, so b3 and then knight e7. What's happening in Georgiades against Bock? Very tense. And clock times, 12 seconds for Bock. Georgiades has just over a minute. I prefer, well, whose position do I prefer? I'm not sure, actually. I was going to say black, but actually once f3's been played to block the diagonal, then white's pieces look very active. rook e8 played. No, knight c6. And then rook e8. I think we're being joined by Maxime and Peter, so I'm going to switch back to their game. Hopefully they're going to join us. Here we go. So just bear with me a moment while we get the guys on stage. Maybe if you'd like to take these seats, that'll be good. Sure. So for those watching online, I'd like to welcome Maxine Vachier-Lagrave and Peter Svidler, who've given us fantastic entertainment this afternoon. I hope it wasn't too exhausting.
It was fine apart from the result, but
I don't know which games you'd like to look through actually.
Well, we should probably mention. I mean, there's not that many. We could probably touch on all four of them, but
yeah, briefly. Yeah, I don't want to kind of exhaust you guys. Let's first of all, I need to find the game. So wait a second.
First two were more interesting than third and fourth.
Yeah,
third was very well played by Maxime, but not by me.
Okay.
And the fourth kind of fizzled out.
Yeah.
But the first two were
pretty
very exciting. Yeah.
Let me try and retrieve these games.
That's game one, and
I've got the first one.
The final position doesn't look like I was, in with much of a shot there, but it wasn't all.
Okay, just bear with me while
Sure.
I sort out the techie details. To be honest, I think excuse me, it's game one. Yeah, that's better. 1 second, folks. And
One that says bishop rook takes b3.
rook takes b3, exactly. Yeah, great. So we sorted out the techie problems.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't go through the whole game, but perhaps we could arrive at a critical moment. So round about...
One thing I need to mention is that we briefly touched on this yesterday when we were speaking during the opening. I haven't played chess in a while, and I think it kind of showed, because we got to this position, and I gave Maxime something like between 5 and 7 minutes odds, which in a very complicated position is unnecessarily risky.
Until move 19, at least it's theory. So.
Yeah, so it's completely unnecessary to waste this amount of time, much needed time on moves which are reasonably well known. I was thinking about something, obviously, but yeah, and that kind of came back to bite me later in the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
it's a very tense position, isn't it? So
Yeah,
I mean, both sides have their trumps. Maxime, do you want to take over there?
Yeah, I think the critical position. I mean, I thought for a while, and I thought about, whether I should draw this g5, but at the same time, I thought most of my contemplation. I mean, if I can get rook e8, then I might even be better already.
If black gets rook e7, rook e8, and I've done nothing, one way of dealing with it would be if I'm in time to play king g2, bishop f2, and rook d1. Then I'm okay. But it's 3 moves, and I don't really have 3 moves here. But my plan was, when I was playing bishop d5, was of course to meet rook e7 with g5, which is what I've done. And I missed knight g4, to be entirely honest. I looked at all the other knight jumps, but I did miss knight g4.
No, I mean, when I played rook e7, I intended knight g4.
Yeah.
But that first time is rook g2.
Yeah, but then there's rook g2. And I think it's kind of lucky for black that he has bishop c3 here, because everything else might be just
catastrophic.
Yeah.
Well, I had already seen that.
Yeah, but bishop c3, and after bishop queen f4, I've been thinking later, maybe you could have just gone knight f6, actually. I don't see any refutation.
Yeah, but I thought...
played quieter.
Yeah, but I don't want to play quiet, because you just go back.
This was my plan. But then you can maybe go bishop e5 and queen c3. And how am I making any progress ever?
Well, I don't know.
Was my question.
In this program?
Queen
c3.
Your pieces also start coming in. So later I became somewhat curious about this. But after knight e3, it becomes very interesting.
But knight e3 didn't. I mean, we're not using computers, so I really don't know. But it didn't look bad for black.
No, but it's very sharp.
No.
Our conclusion was it probably leads to a draw.
Really?
No, the point is after queen e4.
Yeah, I should have gone queen e4. There's also a draw available to me if I take on d6 here with the queen.
Okay, let's see queen e4 anyway.
Queen e4's point is if I go knight e3, I mean, a bit
naively. Knight f4.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
Knight
and,
f3 I can even take. But
yeah. No, sorry.
Knight
So
f4 is one critical move here, and no, but here bishop d6 is bishop d6, queen b6 check, and knight takes d5. But I will have an extra pawn and
Yeah.
a very decent position.
No, so I intended bishop e5.
So bishop e5, and here I probably have to play bishop takes d6, and it should fizzle out into some kind of a forced draw. Takes, queen takes on g2.
And queen c2, bishop f7.
Yeah, queen c2, bishop f7 should be a
because
draw.
after king f7 you have queen d5 check.
Yeah. So and if you don't take on c2, I should be able to consolidate, and it's a much better version of what I could have gotten later in the game.
Yeah.
And but this was basically I had 1 minute left here, and I made a completely ridiculous mistake in that I thought Maxime missed something, and he doesn't really miss very much. And I thought, queen g2, why is he doing this? Because instead of knight takes g2, he could take on e7, and I expected him to actually play this move.
And I was concerned about bishop.
Yeah, bishop f7 and rook e2 is an interesting idea, but I think my bishop a5 move is quite good here.
Yeah, rook d6. I mean,
I don't know.
Bishop c7
now.
Yeah.
To be honest, I didn't see bishop takes f7. My plan was to play f6, but that actually doesn't work.
No, that doesn't work at all.
Because
you take?
No, knight g2, queen g4. No, this is
even take on
no,
e7.
no. This is I'm not that ridiculous, but you can take on f6 with the bishop, I think.
Yeah.
And my plan was to play something like rook e2,
With knight d5 or
queen g4, but there's queen e7 check.
Yeah.
I had this very nice geometrical idea of going rook e2, forcing you to take on d5, and then playing queen g4, attacking everything.
Okay, let's just show that position. That's very nice. So rook e2,
Yeah, it would be very nice if it worked, but there's queen a7 check here.
Sorry, I'm just going to...
And black keeps his material and probably wins.
Yeah.
So that's kind of regrettable from my viewpoint. And when Maxime blitzed out knight g2, for the first and sort of the last time in the game, I thought, whoa, this is a mistake. And also I didn't have that much time to consider. And I thought, okay, queen g5, knight goes somewhere, I play f6, and I give mate. Sadly, though, after knight f4, there's this knight takes h3 threat, which I failed to consider properly. And I probably have to take on f4 here.
Yeah,
but I took a practical decision here because I felt with a minute against whatever that is,
six,
something like
maybe
maybe even more.
I used 3 minutes and I was
Well, I can see from the clock times here you used a
But
minute
that's
and a half over
yeah.
king h1.
But I took
That's useful time.
I considered my options, and I felt that if king h1 doesn't lose, I might have a playable position. Whereas if I play queen f4, queen e7, I probably will just lose eventually, because first and foremost, black is objectively better, and also with the time available, I will not be able to hold this. With all the weaknesses I have in my position, and the horrible dark squares, and really no play on the king side anymore. I just felt it's in practical play. It's next to impossible to hold this.
Well, it's all to do with king position.
Yeah,
it's simple.
So I took a bit of a gamble with king h1, but unfortunately just loses by force, more or less. In exactly the way that
took my time because I could take on it as well. But
but that was a funny line. Knight h3, I was planning to go queen e3.
Yeah.
And if knight f2 check, I have king g2, and after knight g1, I have bishop f7. That was the line I was kind of hoping for, but even here you can play bishop e5. So I'm not sure if it's good for me, but that was kind of the idea I had, the idea behind playing king h1. But unfortunately, knight g5
I took my time and I just took the most practical decision.
Yeah.
And well, I mean, everything is more or less forced, and you get to this position, which
it's impossible to hold because I mean the difference in king safety and also rook d2 is a bit of a threat. So.
Okay, I mean that tactical phase is incredibly difficult.
I miss that rook d2 was a threat here.
I mean, if I could sort of do nothing for one move, I maybe could have pretended I'm still alive, although not really. But
Okay, well, fascinating first game. That tactical phase, I mean, in rapid play,
I should have had 5 minutes instead of 2 at some point.
But okay, I want to take you to game 2.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
Okay, so Peter, you hit back.
I felt, my opening choice obviously was to do with the result of game 1. I felt I needed to go for something riskier.
As these games are fairly long, what I want to do is take us through
I missed h5, of course, when I played g4.
Okay,
this is still a fascinating position.
Okay,
so this queen sack,
Well, it's an obvious. I mean, I have no choice, and also it looks absolutely.
Yeah, it looks winning. If not for bishop h6, I can more or less resign
Yeah.
here. But I did see bishop h6 from some way off, and
And here, yeah, I mean, I wanted to keep my options open when I mean, didn't take on d6 right away. Like here.
yeah, but even here, I mean, here also on the previous move, you could start with knight takes d6.
No,
first.
here knight takes d6, king d7.
You sure?
I'm not sure, but
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah.
Can we look at the game because I mean I find this sacrifice very, very interesting. I mean I was thinking at the time, I think perhaps White's problem is that there are so many tempting possibilities.
Yeah.
I mean I thought simply just
Yeah.
I don't like this.
Ramming
but, I
this.
mean,
You-
you
you're
can
not
talk
sure.
about
Problem is-
this, but I don't like it.
you
If
don't
I-
like it?
If I play after both knight d7 and knight c6, I'm not sure which one is stronger. The White has this huge issue that he cannot castle long because knight takes c5 will collect this pawn,
Okay.
and this means that he will have to spend some time.
So here.
Yeah, this just doesn't work at all for
Okay.
White. And this is a huge big deal because if White could connect the rooks immediately, I would be almost lost. But actually, Maxime has to spend a move on, I'm not entirely sure what here. And I will be able to play queen b6, maybe next move, create some additional threats.
So the line I liked
Yeah, this-
best, and I should probably have played it. Is
This
bishop
I
e3.
did not consider, and Maxime told me about that after
Very
the
cool.
game. It's a very cool idea.
Yeah. Interesting.
I mean, the point is, at some point I will play f4 and this restricts this
Just play
bishop.
against this bishop. It was a I completely failed to consider this. This would have been in practical play. It would have been very, very difficult to
Not,
face.
not an obvious
I
continuation.
think what I missed is after knight d7, I need not take this pawn probably.
Yeah, you should just go for.
Just
Yeah.
F4.
Yeah.
Just go for. And
Because
I'm not-
otherwise the knight might come to e5.
Okay, and then when you take on D6,
maybe I actually have to
E7,
force you.
E5, and
Maybe I have to force you to
knight
take.
e5
No?
again.
Maybe I need to go b5,
knight
knight
E5
d7,
again.
king
I beg your
e7.
pardon, yeah.
Well, I mean, anyway.
Not here, but I mean knight d7, f4, and then play b5 and kind of try and force you to take.
Yeah, maybe.
At least to trade some pieces off.
But then maybe I go king e2 in the end.
Sure. No, I'm not saying I'm doing well. I'm just saying that maybe
You
this
might
is-
be doing okay. I mean, I was not.
Okay, this isn't
100%
so clear actually.
No.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No. No, surprisingly, the position after bishop h6 is quite playable for black, and also from my viewpoint, already trailing and having lost with white, I was very happy about this because I might be losing, but
Another line I considered, and maybe I should have gone for this is e5.
take.
No, no, I know what. I mean, after take, no, I do the same, and it's probably a better version for me
Why?
because
King e7,
yeah, long castle now.
queen c7.
Yeah, no, I have these ideas.
But shouldn't I be somehow in time?
Maybe
Like bishop d7, bishop
knight
e8 or
d7,
something,
knight
or knight
d7.
d7.
Yeah. No, because actually, why I rejected it is you can just play knight c6.
Yeah, I could,
Uh-huh.
but
Okay. Sorry, just coming back to this position where we play like this,
yeah.
and then E5. So I don't know, knight D7.
I will
Yeah.
play knight c6 and knight
Oh,
c6.
knight
Knight
c6.
c6, my issue with
Okay.
knight c6 was you can actually exchange this knight straight away and play long castle, and I was not sure I'm in time.
But
Just bishop e4, bishop takes c6 against any move
But-
on castles. I was worried about that, but maybe there's no real reason to.
I don't know, queen b6.
Queen b6, maybe take on h6 first. Yeah, that was what I was worried about. Take on c6, yeah, and castle.
Presumably queen takes.
Yeah, queen takes and castle long, and take on h6, put it on f6. I think you're better.
Yeah, no,
Maybe
this
you're
is-
not winning, but I mean,
No, this
you
is
take white
definitely
here.
pleasant. Yeah.
But maybe knight D7.
Yeah, knight d7, but then I lock in my pieces. It has drawbacks as well because now my bishop on
Sure.
c8 will take forever to get included in the game. I don't know. It's a strange position to assess.
Very
properly.
interesting. Okay, let's go a little bit further on.
Yeah.
Because still
Yeah,
plenty of interest.
maybe after.
Somewhere around
You're
here,
thinking knight E3, are you?
knight e3 I can develop quietly. I will
Okay,
start by
well,
playing queen
let's see,
b6,
because
I think.
I mean there was a very interesting moment later on where we were looking at playing E5.
Bishop e4, I missed that altogether.
Yeah, this idea of E5 and then
Yeah, no, I miss bishop e4.
and then bishop. Well,
also,
this was
I mean-
Yannick's idea, actually. I should say.
Yeah, that's
It's nice-
pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
that's
very
pretty
nice.
cool. But the thing is, can't I go e5 d5? Do I lose if I go e5 d5?
No.
Well, it looks scary still. It looks very
F5, yeah.
Yeah, this looks very scary.
But I mean, scary is not an evaluation, you know. I mean,
Yeah, but what you move?
In practical
I mean,
play,
yeah, no, it's-
you might live to regret it. Is that
no, I appreciate that. Another option I have is maybe e5 rook g8.
Yeah,
Just give you the d6 pawn,
Right.
ed6, and play something like king. I don't know where, f8 or d8. Choose a square. Yeah, maybe this is better. Actually, I like this maybe the most
Yeah.
of all my options.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
I don't
no.
really want you to have this tremendous attack immediately. But even this, you're probably doing quite well. And
That you might just take on e5. I mean, I looked at the line. It doesn't
yeah, we
look
looked at
so
this,
clear.
and now rook f6. We thought.
Yeah, but I mean, even if let's assume I take on f4, I don't see it's a big deal.
How do you feel about this, Peter?
I'm not. Yeah.
Scary
Okay,
assessment?
let's be even more
Provocative.
No, I like rook c8.
Okay,
though.
rook c8. Yeah.
I do like rook c8 a lot.
because I might not
That's-
have perpetual. I mean, I have a3 though, but
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Rook c8 is
that's
rook
okay.
c8.
It's a
I
good
think
move.
should
Yeah.
solve my issues
That's true.
sufficiently.
Okay, let's see the
No, but
game.
in the game, especially after f5 e5, I am the side playing for a win now.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I just missed in advance that after rook g8, I don't rook h7 just simply knight f6, and so yeah, I mean, at some point I should just go knight c1, knight e2, maybe here.
Maybe immediately. Yeah.
Mm.
No, I mean I'm better, but yeah, I'm not sure if I'm winning yet. But later in the game, I think your last chance was. I was very surprised it took on f6 because I mean once you let my king out of the cage, you have to give a check and go bishop d5. I think.
No, I mean, actually, what I should have done is taken rook h7. There you have to go knight e6,
This I
and
forgot, yeah. And something like b3 and
Yeah.
continue or something.
yeah, and queen b6, and this I didn't like, but probably it was. I mean, I was just lacking time and
Yeah.
failed to play the best, but this is not
Yeah, this
so
is
easy.
this is still not very easy yeah, because I lack coordination. And
Yeah, I
therefore-
mean, and then I just went crazy because I thought after this I have rook g7 and somehow knight e2 check, but I just move and just completely winning.
Yeah, no, king e3. Yeah, this is an easily technically winning position.
Okay, so it somehow drifted away,
Yeah.
and Peter, you converted very well. So that was 1-1. Now let's go to game 3.
Yeah, and that was very one-way traffic and very well converted by Maxime. I mean,
I was fascinated by this battle of the Grunfeld experts.
well, I haven't really played this game as a Grunfeld expert to be entirely frank.
No, I mean, I rechecked this line a month ago for somebody, so and I just knew that after bishop d7, it's basically white was to be careful.
Yeah, that was my conclusion as well. But I missed something very simple in the game. You can't say it was over, but I was already in huge difficulty. Basically, what I missed is move 16.
Okay, well, I'll come on to that in a second. Just very quickly. I certainly don't claim to have any expertise in the Grunfeld, but after d5, in principle, you think this is absolutely
Yeah,
fine
you
for
just
black.
go queen d6 and even a quick f5 is.
And
No,
just-
this is what they're aiming for in a lot of these positions
Yeah.
these days, and this is a fantastic version as well. The
Right.
thing is, you very often get a position like this. Yeah, you
Yeah.
At
yeah,
least.
really.
it's a tremendous amount of tempi up compared to what black considers
Sometimes
playable.
I play knight d7, queen a5, then e5, d5, and
And the
somehow
queen
come
And then the
back.
queen come back. Yeah,
I
this is
mean,
right.
it's-
No, d5 is not
Okay.
really a consideration.
I-
D takes c5 maybe is a bigger consideration than d5.
Probably not.
Okay.
Although not by much. And knight
Yeah.
f3 is definitely a move here. But
Yeah, knight f3 is.
yeah, but I
Certainly.
thought this endgame I shouldn't be in any trouble. But
Okay, let's have a look at the endgame.
yeah, bishop d7 is very strong, and here you probably need to pay attention, and it's I think advisable to actually know the answer here,
Yeah,
which I didn't.
Has this actually been played before?
I think so. I'm not sure.
And
I don't really, look at the history of games. I mean, I just look
Okay.
at what the computer says in general.
yeah, and I went for a position which I felt I should hold without too much difficulty. This position, knight f3, knight d7 has to be played, bishop c4. And I thought bishop f7 is a threat. And when Maxime played bishop knight b6, I realized I cannot take on f7 because the bishop on e3 gets lost in the end.
We'll just show that one again.
And that basically, the fact that I need to spend a tempo playing bishop b3 makes a huge difference compared to other lines. And
yeah, I was considering all kinds of options.
Even after c4, you're slightly better.
c4, you can just take on b6.
Yeah, but even
we
there,
looked at this,
even there is slightly better. But knight d5 is a
Right.
very unpleasant move to face. Here, bishop h6, for instance, is a very decent move as well. I wasn't at all sure what I'm supposed to do here.
Thought, I mean, I thought about this, but I thought
I'm not sure if it's better
Knight G5.
better than what. Yeah, knight g5 is a move, but it's an actual pawn sacrifice. I mean, you start winning material straight away. But also, what Maxime has done is very strong. I think.
I just thought I restrict the white's bishop. And
Yeah, b5 is very, very strong there in the game. Takes, knight e3, rook e3, and when I went for this, I forgot about b5.
because c4, b4.
Yeah, this position, maybe I should have done this for c4, b4 anyway.
Really?
Because then at least I can play, I don't know, in some...
And you play b4, would you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know, rook e4, king c2, for instance, and put the rook on e4, and at least I will have bishop a4, bishop c6 ideas.
Yeah.
So the bishop will not be as dead as it was in the game.
Right.
It's still very unpleasant, but
Yeah,
instead-
probably just go rook d4, rook d8.
yeah, rook
Right.
c1, but then I have bishop h6.
No, I mean, I have check.
Yeah, no, I think it's kind of horrible.
It's better.
And what
Okay.
I got in the game is also my issue is, I'm currently like takes king c2. Black has no immediate way to win.
Well, I mean, at least if my pawn was on h5 here,
Yeah.
probably would be with Agnebo.
Yeah, but the thing is, Black has a very simple plan of improvement, and I'm not sure what I should do about it. First and foremost, I'm not sure I had to do this. In fact, in many positions later in the game, I kind of regretted removing the a-pawns.
Yeah.
Because then some rook a8 comes.
Yeah.
Yeah, rook a8, and also the king came in.
And the
by
king came in
b3,
by
yeah.
b3, yeah.
So maybe just going h4, bishop h3, and keeping the pawn on a2 was better. But in many, your general strategy in a worse endgame is to remove as much material as possible. So it's understandable I went for it. But later in the game, it turned out to be maybe wrong. And I think Maxime just played this endgame very, very well.
Yeah.
And,
Well, I really liked. Can we just show very quickly? I really liked your waiting moves here. Just waiting for White's moves to run out.
Yeah, because
It's
if bishop
very
e2,
nice.
now I'm in time to.
king e6 might be.
Yeah.
No.
If bishop e2, go on.
I think I wanted king d7 actually.
Yeah. Although king d7.
King d7, even this take.
Yeah, even the bishop is so
Yeah.
locked in that I might lose even this endgame.
Because f5 I just take.
f5 you take on f5 and you collect everything, and it
king
seems
comes to a6.
it's probably lost.
The bishop just cannot move. I mean, cannot.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
The bishop is completely locked in, and later in the game, I thought I thought this rook e5 move I made on move 36 was very clever, and I had
And
high
I
hopes.
missed it.
I had high hopes of holding this, but I think Black is just in time here, king b6, because if I remove the b5 pawn, then I have great chances of survival, obviously, because I'm not going to get mated, and all of Black's remaining pawns will be targets. But here my problem was rook d2, king b1, king a4. Rook b6 is an idea here, but Black has this.
No, but I wanted bishop e3 simply.
Yeah, bishop b3 is also possible, but rook somewhere b7, I don't know.
Yeah, but I just assumed it's gonna be winning.
But the thing is, king a3 here gives mate.
Yeah.
This is what I realized. And rook d1, c1, and I run out of squares.
Okay.
And this realization was a bit of a blow
Actually,
for me.
after rook d2, I thought maybe you can play king c1, move 39.
On 49.
I should have considered this for a longer time, maybe. Yeah.
King c1.
But the king still comes in.
Yeah, of course.
King a4,
Yeah, but king a4 now you can take with rook.
bishop f4.
Yeah.
But this is mate.
Yeah, no, this is
Okay, it's
This is
also
the
winning.
problem is this is mate.
Yeah, no, this is
Once the king lands on b3, I think the
Yeah.
game kind of finishes. And,
Yeah, this bishop doesn't really
no,
contribute
it doesn't inspire
much.
much confidence.
No.
Yeah, so kind of a regrettable opening choice, and I think an exemplary game by my opponent. So
Very generous. I don't know if we want to look at the fourth game because it kind of fizzled fairly quickly. But
Yeah, I played the opening quite badly, and then I managed to find this pawn sacrifice, which in practical play I think gave
Yeah.
me better chances than trying to play some passive position.
Yeah, and then I was minimally better and clearly worse, but somehow.
You think you were worse?
okay, we can have a look if you like.
I don't know. I mean,
No, you could. I was very surprised with 94 because you can just make an immediate draw with 91.
oh
And it was a very, very strange choice for me because I mean,
no, I just
I
missed
see.
it.
Okay.
you can just go 91,
Let's just-
93 and
yeah,
repeat
let's
this
just
forever.
No,
So
I probably
when
would
you
have.
played 94, I thought, he really wants to beat me 3-1. This is kind of
So-
impressive.
So the rook hits the bishop. We should explain this. The rook
Yeah.
hits the bishop, and if knight
No,
back,
I
then
You
it's a
just,
could, you
draw
could just
straight
do this
away.
forever.
I do miss things.
Yeah, 94 was a bit of a shocker for
It's
me.
okay. Now we
Yeah,
know you're
because-
human.
Because I mean, my problem was once again I had very, very little time after 94. I think the
No,
critical
I was
position.
considering 95. Actually, I mean, the point is, I was thinking 95 is an immediate draw, so. But then you take e4,
Yeah,
92,
yeah,
and I missed initially that after rook d3, rook a8, you have rook f8.
yeah. Rook f8 is going to be a problem. Yeah.
And then that's what I spent my 1 minute
Okay.
20 on,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
I
So
used
So
2
94,
seconds to play
94 frankly, was a huge shock for me because I thought, okay, you're no longer better at all. So why are you running this risk? But
Well, I
yeah.
guess the time shortage was an issue
No,
again.
I had 6 minutes on the clock.
Yeah.
At least. Yeah,
I
I
thought
just
it
missed
was
91.
more acute than that, actually.
I can't remember anymore.
No.
But yeah.
I mean,
Yes,
Doesn't
after bishop e7, I became very interested for a short time, but then bishop e4, 94. My first idea, should I go? I mean, 96 is a bit of a huge fork here, and
so f3, I
my
said
idea
so.
was to go bishop takes b4 here initially, after f3. No, not here. Here, bishop b4, I think 96 is very
Yeah.
strong. No, instead of bishop d5.
Because after bishop f6 here, I can
Yeah.
take a knight c6. This is actually better for white. Alright.
I did not. I saw this in some other version. Yeah, this is.
No, actually, it's
bishop
not
d6,
better. You
it's
have
not
bishop
better.
d6 and so I play knight a7, but you are this check. So
So it's a draw, yeah, I guess.
yeah,
Yeah, no, my idea was f3 bishop takes b4. I thought I was very happy about this.
yeah,
but-
I saw this, but
But you
then,
can take and go knight e6, and once again, in the end, I get mated. Sadly,
well, I mean, no takes rook a8 also.
yeah, but also rook c6 and king f1
Yeah.
also works for you. So, yeah, and after bishop d5, knight takes b5, I can go rook c1 check, but it also is
It's
a
just a
draw. And rook e3, I was interested for a second, but I don't think I actually get anywhere. Can you play knight a7? By the way, when you started thinking here, I became scared. Maybe you can play knight a7.
You become scared for
I became
for very little. I mean, this looks.
knight ac6. Yeah, I was worried I will somehow you will find mate here, but
I'm
maybe you.
also worried.
Yeah, no, I understand. It becomes a bit double-edged.
Yeah.
To put it
Well, I
mildly.
don't think it's double-edged at all.
Yeah.
I
So,
think,
and in the end, yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, when I said that the fourth game kind of fizzled, well, actually, it burned
No, you-
brightly for some time.
No,
It's still very complex.
you can find stuff to say about it.
Yeah,
F4
definitely.
is a good move here. Yeah, I missed it. I thought rook a5.
yeah, rook a5, but this.
I give check,
I mean,
check.
rook a5 was my initial idea, but this is.
I give check, check. I give a check from g5, and I play h6, and I take with the g rook on g2.
Yeah, I mean.
And yeah, we kind of disagree with Maxime on how bad this is for white. I don't think it's that horrible.
It's
but
probably not that horrible, but in practical game.
yeah,
I
but
mean,
why give me this?
Yeah. So I mean,
F4, I have if rook f5, rook d1 now just wins the piece back.
Yeah, it's funny. Because all the
no, actually,
all the
there's-
mating ideas were happening on the A file. I was going, hang on, what? It's not G4. No. It took me some time to notice rook D1. It's
Yeah.
bizarre.
No, I thought if you're brave, you're going for this. But anyway.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I can play even king h1, rook g1. And,
I did not. Yeah, I would have done this if had I noticed it. But rook d3, g3 as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, you're not losing this.
Yeah.
no, I'm definitely not.
Yeah. You're not
Okay. Very, very interesting. Thanks very much for a really entertaining afternoon. We've had some fantastic comments online, and people have really enjoyed it. So just to let people know that, of course, Peter and Maxine will be playing a 4-game classical chess match over the next 5 days, rest day on Wednesday. So, well, we look forward to that anyway. And thanks very much for joining us. Okay, we'll see you.